Welcome back to Greyhack. In this episode, we will be looking at the new nightly build in Greyhack, where you can play around with the new 0.7 version of the game. So the main server is still online and is still running version 0.6, but if you want to, there is now the option of playing on the nightly server with the nightly build, which is running 0.7, and with 0.7 comes scripting. So yes, we finally have scripting in the game, and it's actually pretty awesome. So this episode, I'm thinking about showing off the new features and what you can expect perhaps in the future, as well as some ways to protect yourself against the, shall we say, dangers that come with this new feature. So the main new thing is the code editor, which is this program. This is where you will be writing all of your code and your scripts that you will be able to run with the terminal. The other thing that that is new is the new tab in the manual. So down here you can see that there's now a scripting tab, and this gives you pretty much all the basic overview information that you need in order to get started with the scripting in the game. There is also a nice website that you can use as a resource for learning scripting in this game, and you can find information on the Greyhack Discord about that. The website is ghtools.xyz, I believe, and if you go there, you will find much of the same information, but it's more accessible. So it's a very nice resource for learning programming. As for other resources that you can use to learn, there is now the basic commands like cat and chmod and cp and all of it. They are one by one being migrated to this new coding language. So they're all being put into the game as scripts rather than being run from the client or server as previously. Well, the code will still be there, but now it's inside the game, if you know what I mean. So if you select the commands, you can see up here if there is a open code button. So for example, for cat, there is an open code, and that shows us the code that the cat command uses when we run the cat command. And you can see by selecting here which of the commands that have been migrated and which that are still being worked on. And this is a good resource for learning how the coding works, because you can look at current you can look at code and figure out how it's done. I thought I would, since this is an overview of the new version, show you some basics. So one of the things, let's see here. So let's say that we use the make dir command, and we make a folder called blue. Let's see here. So now we created this folder up here, which is called blue. And what you can see here is that we used the name of the command and then a parameter for what we wanted to execute. So in this case, we wanted to make a folder and we wanted it to be named blue. Now, to write well, the way this works in the scripting language is that we use something like, let's say, input and make that into the variable, and then we use something called params, and then we select which one we want. So this is the parameter, and the first parameter is the 0, the second one is 1 and 2 and so on. So right here, the first parameter we put into the command, the make command was blue, therefore blue would be params 0. So this is how you take information from the terminal and put it into your code. Then you can use basic things like if, for example. So if input equals to something that we type, let's say that we type try, then we need to use end if, close off the if command, and then we can use the print command or function or whatever method to put information from the code into the console. So we just print something like you typed try, and we can use else, for example. So else print try again. And now when we run this program, so maybe I should mention this, you can save the code as a text file or as a binary file. Now, if you save it as a text file, then you will be able to open it again. But if you save it as a binary file, there's no way of opening the code again. So if you want to edit the code later, you need a text file. This is so that we won't be able to steal each other's code, and you will also not be able to see how dangerous the code you are about to run is. So perhaps there are, perhaps the virus or something like that, and you won't be able to know because you can't open the binary file. So the only way is to test the file and see what happens. At least for now. There will be other systems implemented later that deals with this, but that's how it's working at the moment. So let's try this program. We named it 1, right? And then we do try, and then it says you type try, which is what we said that it would if we typed try as parameter 1. Then we can type something else. Then it goes try again, which is what we had here. Else try again. Then I can show off some more basic things like for loops. Works like you would expect them to. Let's do 1 actually. And then input.len and for print I. So for example, this for loop would just loop through all the letters in input and then type out a number in ascending order. So if we type else, oh wait, we need to save it. Huh. I knew there was something wrong here. Let's see here. Now it should type out all the numbers. So first it types 1, then it types down to 4 because there are 4 letters in else. If we type something, wow, load time exceeded. What did I do this time? That's weird. It's probably super easy, but I can't be bothered at the moment. So, for example, here you go. Well, now it worked. That's interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because I typed six letters in the terminal as params 0. And then if you make another word after here, then that would be params 1 and so on. And that is the way you put text into your code. Beyond this, so like this is the basics of how the coding works. And this together with all the functions and methods that have been added, you have a bunch of ways of using the information from routers, IPs. You can launch commands that have been migrated. So if a command has been migrated, you can see that up here again. If there is a open code, then you are also able to use the launch command, which runs the command inside your code. That's cool. And then you have a bunch of functions for files. And what is interesting about this is that with all these new tools at our disposal, there are new ways of hacking. And one of the new ways of hacking is quite dangerous, to say the least. We are now able to hack into players' computers and steal stuff from them, steal information in their text files and so on. And previously, you had to open up your computer by running a service on your computer for other people to be able to gain access and hack you. But that is no longer the case. We can, with these new tools, create hacking tools that let us hack players even if they're not, even if they have not opened any ports or services on their computer. So how do we protect ourselves against this? That's what I'm thinking that the second part of this video will be about. So let's go back to the terminal and check out some of these valuable folders that, or well, files that we need to protect. So in the etc folder, we have our password file. And this file contains our root password. So that's a pretty valuable file that we want to keep secure. Now, a hacker would be able to read our root password unless we have changed the permissions of the file. So that's what I've done here. I have chmodded it, and I will show you that in a second. But there are two ways of protecting the files. Either you can chmod them like this, and then they would require a root access in order to read. So unless the hacker finds another way or gains root access somehow, they will not be able to read my password file. So it's fairly secure. Another way of doing it is to remove the password file. That way nobody can read it. However, if somebody is able to recreate the password file, perhaps by running a user add command that adds another password to the password file, then the entire password file with your passwords will be recreated with normal permissions. And then the hacker would be able to read it. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Either you think that it's safer to remove it, but then with the possibility of it coming back again, or it's safer to chmod it, but then somebody could find a way to gain root access and still read it. So it's yeah, it's difficult to know which one is the safer option, but you should do at least one of them. Another file or other files that you should check out is, well, check out are the the config files. So in the config folder, you have your mail.txt file, and this file contains your mail password. What you want to do is to either as we did previously, chmod it or remove it. Now there is a, shall we say, security issue with removing this file. Let me show you why. I think I need sudo because I need root access now because as you can see, it has no permissions for anyone else except root. So we need root access in order to remove the file or read it or whatever. So we run sudo, and now we have a root access, and now we can remove the mail.txt. As you can see, it's now gone. But if I run my mail program like this, the mail.txt is recreated with the original permissions. So now a hacker would be able to read my mail password. Therefore, because you use the mail fairly frequently, you won't remember to delete it all the time. I recommend that this is one of the files you chmod. So chmod works like this. We first remove all the permissions for others, then we remove all of them for group, and then we remove all of them for user, and now you can see it's fully protected. In the config folder, there's also a bank.txt file, which works exactly the same. If you want to, you can remove it, but it will be recreated every time you log into your bank account. Or you can change the permissions for the file, and then you won't have to remove it every time. It's up to you, really. So that is the main way of protecting yourself against, like you take the files and folders that you think are important and you protect them or delete them. That way people won't be able to access them. If you want to make your PC more secure, I would recommend that you chmod every file and folder. That way it will be much harder for a potential hacker to gain access because there are less options available to them. Besides changing the permissions and getting rid of the files, there's another way in which we can try to protect ourselves against these new hacking techniques. So in order for somebody to hack you, they will need to get your IP. Now, you leave an IP whenever you access a server, but you also leave an IP, for example, when you access a website. If we go to a normal shop, like everyone does, this shop will now have my IP logged. And if somebody gets a hold of my IP, they will be able to hack me. So to protect ourselves, we need to come up with a way of hiding our IPs. And one way is to hack a few Wi-Fi networks. And then when you are connected to one of the Wi-Fis, that is your IP. But if you change Wi-Fi, then you have another IP. You get the IP of the router on the Wi-Fi network that you're connected to. So what you could do is you could hack a Wi-Fi network that you never use online so that nobody gets that IP. And then you can disconnect from the internet by sitting in that Wi-Fi whenever you want to be safe and play the game without getting hacked. And then when you need to access the internet, you would connect to your other Wi-Fi that is that you use to connect to the internet. And then you will be vulnerable when you are on that Wi-Fi and you're using the internet, but then you will be safe when you switch it off and turn back to the offline Wi-Fi, so to speak. So that's one way of trying to become a little bit more safe with your IPs. Another way, I should also mention that whenever you log off the game, your computer is also offline. Therefore, nobody will be able to hack you when you're not playing the game. So you're only vulnerable to other players' hacks and attacks when your computer is connected to the internet because, well, your computer is online and it's on, pretty much. Another way of protecting yourself against these kind of hacks is to use proxy networks. So previously, we have not had much use for proxy networks because, well, there was no real point in hiding your IP. Nobody could do anything to you anyways, but now they can. So now it's a good idea to hide behind a bunch of proxies. And another cool idea is to have some proxy bound servers that you have chmodded so people can't read the logs and track you. But I think that will be the topic of the next video, where we discuss one of the better ways of protecting your IPs with the use of proxy networks and proxy servers. I think this is a good start explaining how this new update, what it brings, and what we can expect and how we can protect ourselves. And then we will continue with the protection theme in the next episode. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.